Hey, greetings, everyone. Keith Prather here again with the NCM RV demand outlook. And let me share my screen. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. This one's going to be controversial for you, and I think a lot of you may end up pushing back on me just a little bit, only because the index is coming in more optimistic than at least what we're hearing in the marketplace. So we're hearing a lot of dealers are fretting over the fact that we're just not seeing a lot of foot traffic, not seeing a lot of buyers, maybe some lookers. I don't know. But you're seeing inventories build, and there seems to be a lot of pressure out there. We see a slowing of sales. The May demand index, however, and remember, this is an outlook looking 6 months ahead, and it is like a leading economic index. We take a lot of different economic measures and we throw them into the index, and what comes out is something that looks forward. So we're looking at the demand environment, or at least the backdrop for the demand environment looking out ahead. And so we did see an improvement. We saw it, 0.7% higher month over month between April and May. May's the latest data we have available. A lot of the measures we put into the demand index themselves are still working off of May data. It takes them well into July before we start to see the brand new June data come out. But you see that improvement still at 146.9. That's better than we've seen. You really got to go back until, almost coming out of the pandemic to see a demand environment this strong. That's the controversial part of it. And I think that's about it. It's still 20% higher year over year. So we may have to do some adjustments on the index. I don't think so. It's been pretty accurate thus far. But what it's giving you is a lot of optimism over the second half of the year and what's to come. Now, as we look a little bit deeper, so here's the retail sales index, and you can look and see that we did see some improvement, and a lot of this will be seasonal improvement. But even when we compare it to last year, we're still running about 2.5% higher year over year for retail sales. And I know it may be spotty. I know there are parts of the country where, we're hearing you and we hear that it's just absolutely flat for you, if not declining year over year. So you're struggling, you're trying to move inventory, you're discounting, you're doing some things to try and get aggressive. But other pockets of the market seem to be seeing some business. And so the overall macro number here looks a little bit better than probably some of you are feeling. When we look at our forecast then for other things like broader consumer spending and broader retail trade, we still see what's most important is a healthy consumer that's still spending. Consumers right now, we still have about 7.6 million jobs open in the United States. Normal is about six. So we still see that strong job opening opportunity, if you will, for a lot of folks. We also see wages growing at almost 4%, and we see inflation still tame, believe it or not. Even with all the tariff risk and tariff pressures and everything, we still see inflation running like 2.5 to maybe 2.9% on any given month. Still well below that 4% wage growth rate, which means households every single month are seeing their discretionary income go further, right? They're seeing their wages go further than the inflation pressures. And so they're putting money back and are able to spend it on other things. And that's what we're getting a lot of out of the retail sentiment index here. So this is 70% of GDP. And what we're getting out of the index is this strong, stable curve. You have just a couple blips in here, but these are mostly seasonal blips. But you're still getting this nice curve. And then when we look at it compared to the long-term trend, spending is going to continue to outpace it significantly. So at least we're getting good signals there. The tariff pressures, the things that you see geopolitically in the marketplace are just affecting consumer sentiment, right? It has them concerned. But we now have the tax bill passed, and I'm going to give you some details on it in a second. And we've got some interesting demographic trends that I think we also need to look at. Here's the demographic trend that says brand new data, it's new learning based on some of the latest available information that we have. And what spurred us looking deeper into this was that we saw in the month of June, professional business service headcount falling by about 7,000 jobs. And we kind of scratching our heads like, okay, that's interesting. There's something happening here. And what you find out is that it's AI replacing workers. And so it kind of scared us a little bit, right? Our spidey senses started tingling. And so we went in to do some deeper dives. And here's what we found. We found that between now and 2030, we're going to have baby boomer retirements. Those who are eligible for retirement, it doesn't mean they all take retirement, but it means that the majority are going to be looking at their portfolios and they're saying that they can get out. of almost 22 million people. At the same time, we're going to add about 2.3 million new workers to the workforce. That's how much it's going to expand by. And that assumes that we don't reopen the visa program and have a lot of migrants into the United States that are the right types of workers, right? Not trying to make a political statement at all, but that's where the administration is headed, is trying to get those who are here illegally, that maybe aren't here doing the right kinds of things, getting them kind of deported, but then trying to open up migration, trying to speed up the visa process to try and get the right workers into the United States. Anyway, long diatribe there, and I could go a lot longer, but that net gain is only 2.3 million. AI looks like it's going to replace about 4 million jobs. I mean, as I travel around the country, I'm hearing it accelerate. I know it's happening, but they think at the same time we'll create about 1 million jobs. So there's going to be about a 3 million net loss there. But when you take all of this into consideration, we are still going to be short in the United States about 18 million people looking for jobs. I'm sorry, we're going to be short about 18 million workers that were here in the 2025, and prior period. So we have got to find a way to get, that net gain in workers. Either we've got to make it up by using AI for more, we've got to add more robotics, we've got to allow more migration, we've got to do something to close that gap. The flip side of this, and the reason why I'm bringing it up for the RV industry, is you've got about 22 million baby boomers that are going to be retiring with a lot of wealth, and some of them are going to have a lot of time on their hands. They are going to retire a little bit early, and with them coming in and that rate of retirement coming faster over the next 5 years, I think you're going to see some interesting opportunities in the RV sector overall, and that's why I wanted to point that out. Flip side is there's also some benefits that are coming out of the tax bill. So we have the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, believe it or not, it's kind of the real name of it. And forget all this noise up here, but when we look at the tax benefits prior to passing the bill and then the incremental gains that will come as a result of it, most average households are going to see a net benefit of somewhere between, $7,000 and $7,600. And that's a year. They won't get the benefit until 2026, until once they file their taxes and they see what that benefit is. They aren't necessarily going to realize it as we move through the year. Some will. So you'll start to see, some changes in incomes as we, don't tax tips, don't tax overtime. Some consumers will instantly kind of see that in their pocketbooks, but a lot of them aren't necessarily going to be RV buyers. What the higher end, medium income levels, those households and those individuals will start to see those benefits really when they file their taxes in 2026. But that should generate a $781 billion annual boost to consumer spending starting in 2026. And I want to look here and see, no, I didn't include it. There's also another component inside this bill that should help the RV industry. Primarily, it's going to be on the rental side of things when it comes to corporate rentals. One of the big components in it is a measure that allows 100% depreciation of a new construction project in the industrial sector. So if I'm starting a brand new industrial project, or I want to build a manufacturing facility or anything in the non-residential sector, really, I can depreciate 100% of that project instead of waiting 35 to 40 years to depreciate it. I can get it all right up front, which makes it a super affordable thing to do, to go in and to build these projects, especially if I've been thinking about it. And what's interesting is all that's front loaded. They have to have those projects completed before 2029, and actually be physically moved in and using the facility by 2030. And so we're going to see a lot of front-loaded spending on non-residential construction. And as we know, when it comes to rentals, especially at a corporate level, it's the non-residential construction projects that generate the majority of that rental income. So watch for that. I think that's also going to be coming, which should help. So all these things combined don't help what is still kind of currently a fairly average, lackluster economic outlook for the rest of the year. The Federal Reserve, a lot of folks still see trade pressure, tariff pressure especially, as weighing on spending overall. Um, I still think we could get some of these what we call green shoots in economics, where you see some early movers, some consumers who just read about the tax benefit and they decide even if they don't get it until April of 2026, they want to go spend now. So they're going to go buy and buy it on debt. They want to get ahead of the market. And so you could see some folks doing that. They're green shoots. We also call them animal spirits. And I think we could see some of that activity. But overall, that's kind of where we're at. Again, a lot of our data maybe shows a more optimistic outlook than perhaps what some of you are feeling. And I'm sorry for that. I mean, we're just trying to live in the data itself and looking to see what it's showing us moving forward. So anyway, hopefully it's good news for you. It's better than the opposite where I'm sitting here and kind of being a Debbie Downer and telling you the rest of the year is going to be terrible. So anyway, press on, and I hope you're doing well, and I hope you stay safe, and we'll see you next month. All right, take care.